Please welcome to the show one of the most powerful healers I've encountered. One who truly channels energy that helps you to connect to your divine energy, to help you align in a deeper and powerful way, and to help you shine. Please welcome Kumari. Right?
So great to be here.
Just telling the truth.
Thank you.
You just look radiant. Just absolutely, doesn't she? She looks absolutely radiant. It is so good to have you. So good to be here with you. Absolutely.
This is a dream come true.
I know, it is, right?
Yeah.
This really is. This has been quite a journey for us. We, connected, goodness, a good while back, we'll say. And there's just been so many beautiful visions and journeys that we've already been on. And to be at this place at this time is just kind of a culmination of such a beautiful journey so far. So
I totally saw this for you. I remember eating dinner with you and saying, I could totally see you.
Yeah, there were many seed planters in my life and seed waterers. And then she was kind of all of the above. But really to just help me stepping into my own highest vision, highest and best for my own life. And I know you do that for so many others. But I want so many people out there to share and experience what you do and how you get to do it. And there's so many levels that you do such healing. She is very clearly a healer. Yes, breathe, right? Yes. Because, I could list all of these things that she's done, but really when you sum it up and you get to the bottom line, it's all about healing.
It is all about healing.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey in I know we could be here a while, right? And
we'll stepping into
we'll do this Reader's Digest summary version. As it usually is, isn't it? Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that until someone asked me to write my bio for a book I was contributing to. And I had to look back on the last 20-some years. And I realized that the catalyst was my father's death from cancer. I was an attorney at the time. I don't know if you even knew that.
I did not. I love it.
In another lifetime.
Yes.
I was a lawyer. And, I was going to save the world through law.
And now you do it in other ways.
Yeah. And so I was clueless about everything that I do now. It didn't even exist to me. But sitting at my father's bedside, watching him labor for his breath, he had lung cancer, there was this deep desire to do more. And I don't even think it was articulated, but it was just so within me that there's got to be more we can do for him. And he had the best medical care at the time.
Sure.
It wasn't about that, but it ignited something in me. And of course, a month later, another attorney comes in to legal aid where I was working with a picture, and it's a meditation master from India. Who knew?
How bizarre, how
fabulous.
Fabulous.
It's like one door closes and the other opens, And so I watched that and I went, oh my gosh, my father and his death propelled me into this whole new arena where I wanted to ease suffering.
Yes.
It just was deep within me. And so I began studying meditation. And I remember that same attorney told me about Reiki, energy healing. And I thought she was nuts. I have to.
Sure, right?
Like, she was describing these experiences of subtle energy, and I thought, that makes no sense. And she was beaming energy to her throat, she said, and she started coughing, and I'm like, she must have been pressing on your throat. I was so direct.
There's something she did to you.
I was so black and white, right?
Sure.
And so I remember that moment of arguing with her for her reality.
Wow.
And then within 6 months, that was me. I was studying Reiki. I never even had it. I didn't even know what it was, but I find myself in a class going, oh my God. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Forget the law school and all the debts I had.
Right?
Boom, I was in my new life.
Wow.
It was that dramatic.
Wow.
And so people thought I had really lost my mind, as I left that whole world. And I literally just walked away.
Wow.
And followed my heart to my teachers, you know, to live in ashrams, to just immerse myself in this path of energy healing.
Yes.
And becoming a vehicle for that. You know, because I don't believe actually I heal anybody, but I do feel like I've been taught and given the gift of getting out of the way for healing to happen.
To be
through
that
me,
channel,
be
right?
that
To be
vehicle
a
or that
vessel.
channel, yeah.
Yes.
And so that was so different, you know, than being the talking head that I needed to be as an attorney. And,
Sure.
you know, it was really stepping back, and it was such a relief, actually, to just let
To
go.
release all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I could sit here all day just channeling this wonderful, beautiful, loving energy without talking. It was
What an idea.
and I love to talk. So it was quite a shift for me. And so after many, many years of doing energy healing, another love of my life, animals, started showing up at my door. Literally, people said, well, if you could do that with me and help all my pain go away. I have a dog who's arthritic. I have a dog with cancer. I have this horse
I have
who's
this.
lame. And they literally, you know,
Wow.
just started showing up. And so I noticed that my awareness with people, the intuitive side of me became very, very, very laser
Yes.
focused as I began to see patterns of subtle energy and patterns of the way that we block
Yes.
and the way that we hold old emotions that we haven't fully been able to release,
Yes.
and how that creates physical symptoms. And you know, I was reading Dr. Oz once was on Oprah, and he said, you know, the next new frontier in medicine is energy medicine.
Yes.
And I was like, where was he 20 years ago? And
It's
I
all
could use
perfect.
a spokesperson
I know,
then,
right?
because everyone thought I was crazy.
Sure.
Reiki, what? You know. So,
But
you
that's
know,
how it is with pioneers,
Yeah, now
right?
we're
They
cool,
think they're
right?
crazy at first, but then, right, everyone catches up,
Yeah.
and you realize actually it's incredibly powerful, and we need to be utilizing it. You know, a number of our guests that we've had are finding the same things in other modalities,
Yeah.
but it's all around the energy healing. So, you know, and for me, I'll tell you, you were probably one of the very first really, I mean, just like powerful, goodness,
remember.
oh my goodness, it was just one of, you know, you have experiences in your life that it's kind of like what you said with the lawyer thing, right? You know, you're operating in this very linear, factual, statistical, I can see it, I can smell it, I can understand it all in these terms, and then you have experiences, you go, I don't have anything to connect this to.
It's totally out of the box.
It's out of the box.
It breaks-
and
breaks down.
And right, if I
Yeah.
say anything about this, people go, are you okay? Do we need to kind of talk to you?
I
You
know.
And yet it's absolutely undeniable. It's absolutely unforgettable. And it shifts. It makes changes. It's powerful. It's so I love that you live and work and operate in that truth and have been for years. You've been one of the pioneers to do that.
Thank you. And pioneers, I love that word. Pioneer
Yes.
woman.
Interesting,
It
I'm
was not so
using that word, right?
comfortable at the time.
Yeah.
I can recall. But now it flows so easily for me to speak what I now know is truth.
Yeah.
You know, that we are not just this, you know,
Right.
but that we are all living, breathing energy.
Yes.
Light waves.
Yes.
At our very core. And so what we think is solid
Right.
is not solid.
Right.
Which is such great news, because then it can shift.
Well, yeah,
You know,
and
you understand that nothing here is actually
it's actually what you think, right?
yeah.
And I remember, you know, in science class, you know, they would talk about theories. Do you know? I mean, most of our even some of the mathematical and scientific things were theories.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, wow, we're learning all this stuff, and these are just theories, but they're being presented as facts. You know, and
Yes.
some of those theories were exactly that everything is just
It's like Columbus, you know, and
Yes.
the world being flat.
yes.
To understand ourselves as consciousness and energy is to really wrap your mind
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah.
Then literally illness
Yes.
becomes very fluid
Right.
rather than solid.
Shiftable.
And old beliefs and limits that we thought were totally ingrained and are part of us, they become very light and ethereal rather than driving
solid mass.
that we can't shift or can't change.
Right.
So that understanding, I actually lived it before understanding it. It's like not something the mind can actually comprehend, although science is really catching up with what the sages knew for a long time.
It is.
But I started noticing patterns in healing that translated from people to pets equally. People thought that was such an amazing thing to work with animals, and I thought, it's all the same when you understand the simple principles of the ability to shift energy. And basically that a higher frequency or vibration always trumps a lower.
Yes.
Higher meaning happy, joyful, blissful.
Yes.
Full of radiance and light.
Yes.
That is really truly who we are when we remove the density of the old beliefs that limit that light, you know, that tell us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough. We can't be clear, we can't
Right, we can't, period.
Yeah, we can't tap our inner guru.
Yes.
You know, and we're taught that from a very early age,
Yes.
as you mentioned. And it's just not true. I believe everybody can be a healer.
Yes.
And everybody can tap into their own inner clarity and inner knowing.
I absolutely believe that, and I think that's something that I love about our time, because I feel very much that that's what people are finally coming to a bigger awareness of, is, you know, so many of the old forms were look to this person, look to this thing, follow this, follow that.
Yeah.
And instead there's such a shift to realizing actually what I believe, you know, so many of the, you know, sacred texts actually speak to, right? They all actually have them in there.
These two and much greater.
Yeah. I'll never forget the first time I heard that. I thought, how is this even
gotta be
possible?
kidding.
Right? I mean, hello, water to wine, boat, you know, parting sea. Like, how in the world am I going to do something greater than that?
Right.
And
And
yet,
I can sit here and tell you that you already are transmuting density, negativity, impossibility. Just by this show, just by who you are, you give people a whole new sense of possibility. And you know, I do see, one of my gifts is being able to see someone's highest potential.
Yeah.
And it's laid out there just like a beautiful canvas. It's like, it's all there.
Yeah.
But very few people step into it, my dear.
Yes.
Very few people take that dream or that vision or that possibility and run with it.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of courage.
yes, it does. It takes massive amounts of courage.
Yeah.
It takes massive amounts of, you know, I don't even like to use this phrase, but it's like slaying your demons, so to speak. You know, really overcoming that lower, denser energy as you speak of, and that's, I mean, that's
And moving ahead in spite of that.
in spite of.
Instead of waiting,
That's
this was one of my hugest breakthroughs.
Yes.
I thought you had, because I was a healer, I thought if you had stuff, before you did all the other big stuff, you had to heal your stuff.
Heal all your stuff, have it all
It's like all that
solved.
noise, all that gunk,
that.
you had to,
It's
I
all had
wasn't
to be
ready
done.
to move forward because I
Right.
have this stuff. And,
Nope.
and finally, one of my mentors sent along a tape, and it was about self-sabotage and speaking to your fear, just saying, hey, fear, I know you're here.
Right.
But I'm still walking ahead. You know,
I'm still
you
going.
can join me, you can do whatever you do.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to notice you anymore.
Right.
I don't, but I no longer also need to completely heal you in order to step
In
forward.
order to move
that
forward.
was so liberating.
Right? We don't have to be perfect and
Right.
have it all solved before
Yeah.
we can
We
take
can
those
just
steps
move forward.
Yeah. Feel
Even
the
with the
fear
fear.
and do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's the key. I
Very
love it.
liberating.
Very, very liberating.
So
We're
it
going to
gets rid of
go.
all the perfection.
Absolutely. Or the need
The
to
need
think that
to-
you have to be
Yes.
perfect first.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. We're going to go a little deeper into that right after this. So come back with Kumari. This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com. And we are back with Kumari and the healing gifts that she offers to the world for those who show up on her path and that she is called to. So, Kumari, I know, isn't it great when you hear the
Stories.
things about, right?
Yeah.
You know, others' perception of who you are and how you show up in the world.
Because I never wanted it, I never was comfortable being the healer.
Yeah.
To me, that wasn't the real story.
Right.
The ability to empower healing within someone.
Yes.
To me, that was the story. So when I learned Reiki, it wasn't enough for me to do it.
Right.
I had to become that Reiki master teacher.
Right.
That was what was so brilliant about it.
Yes.
Was it wasn't just about me laying on of hands or me running energy for people. It was literally something that I could awaken
Yes.
within everyone. And I've been teaching almost 20 years.
Yes.
And I have never had a dud student yet who didn't awaken
Right.
through the special attunement process. So I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is within all of us.
Yes.
And that to me is what's so amazing. But I know people love to hear about the healing stories, like what's possible.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get that. And I remember that was a very big point of connection for both of us was, you know, having a vision, but knowing it wasn't all about us,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not just about us. It's actually about how we're just a conduit, you
Yes.
know, and not just but we're a conduit. And that actually within each person, there's that opportunity, there's the ability, there's the, you know, what can happen if we step into it. And then what we're given, now we get to share so that they can step into theirs. And I'm still that way. I mean, as you see, this medium for me is all about that, right? It's that, okay, great, I get to do it and I get to share others who do it so that all of you who are listening and watching get to step into yours.
There's no greater joy, I
There
don't
really
think,
isn't. I
than
agree.
empowering someone else.
It really
and
is.
allowing them to flourish and blossom. So for me, yes, being the healer is wonderful and amazing and magical, and miracles happen all the time.
Yes.
And there's more. And the more
and
is
you can do
that,
it too.
Right.
Yes.
So now my focus is really on helping teach the teachers.
Yes.
You know, and really create that army of healers kind of.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
a great visual.
My mission is.
Someone
is
said something like a spiritual, what was it?
spiritual warrior.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
becoming the spiritual warrior. So
Yes.
that's how I focus now. But the stories really do impact us because we need a vision of a possibility.
Yes.
You know, when we're sick,
Yes.
when we're terrified that our body is breaking down,
Yes.
or when we're totally stuck in our business and we don't know what decision to make, and it seems like everybody is looking up to, you know, the leader of the business. So for instance, one thing that happened, which was amazing, a woman came to me years ago, and she was at a crisis point in her business. She needed to make a quick decision about whether to stick or to bolt, you know,
Right.
and everything was up. And so I got her talking about some of the projects that were potential, but they weren't there yet. And one project, I got goosebumps. And she talked about this movie project that they hadn't signed the contract yet. So
yes.
I was like, beg, borrow, and steal
Right.
to stay alive until you get that project, because it's going to have such a huge impact, not just for your company,
Yes.
but for the world. It had an incredible message. And this was 2 years before the movie aired. And so she stuck it out and made it happen, and she got that contract. And 2 years later, that movie project became the largest grossing film ever in
Which
history,
was?
which was Avatar. She got to be internationally recognized for her production work
Wow.
on that movie. And of course it turned into many, many more projects. So it was
Yes.
just that moment of needing that clarity of what could open up if I just stay the course,
Yes.
and helping her to see that. It
That's
was amazing.
powerful.
And it got even better when the Academy Awards came around.
Yes.
Her father became very ill and he was in a coma. And she asked me to send him some healing. And I did for a week, every day for a week. She was not able to get on the plane and go, but she was able to sit on her hospital bed. Her father woke up and they watched the Academy Awards with her movie production company. And she had that grand finale with her dad before he passed. So it spans, you know, that ability to be present in each moment with what's needed to get back into our true alignment with Source and with life force. It's possible to have more clarity. It's possible to know. We have an unbelievable wellspring of wisdom within us that we can tap, and I can show pretty much everyone now. I know how to show them to tap that.
That's beautiful.
And then the physical healing is kind of like the bonus when we become that aligned. So some other instances, I helped a breeder, a dog breeder, with a dog who was becoming so aggressive, he got disqualified from a show. He was going to eat somebody. And it was a 200-pound Mastiff.
Oh my gosh.
And so in one session, I was able to give him some tools, energy tools, to help his dog come down from that space of being totally freaked out and aggressive.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I get an email with a picture with International Grand Champion.
Look at that.
So
beautiful.
yeah, just those kind of transformations I see all the time.
This is absolutely wonderful. And what are some of the tools? You know, I know you have this amazing project. Really, this is one of my favorites. It literally sits in my car. If I have nothing else in my car on, I literally always have this in there.
This CD program is a 3 CD program, and it actually is all the foundational tools that I found myself. I started doing much long distance work. I actually, I hardly ever have a client in person anymore. It's almost always on the phone in countries all around the world. And so because the connection is there through the energy.
There.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And so there's really no distinction.
Right.
And people find that trippy.
Yeah,
you know?
I bet.
They get over it fast with me because they'll say, okay,
Well, like
where's
I
my
did.
pain?
It's like I did.
And I'm like, okay, your left shoulder up into, and they're like, okay, game on, you know.
It's very true. That's exactly what I experienced. You were in Florida,
Yeah.
and I was in Phoenix, and you know, I'm literally experiencing these things, and I didn't say anything, and she's like, okay, you might want to lay down because your legs are going to start, you know, but and it was already happening. Like you were literally giving a blow by blow of what was happening.
Yeah, it's
and
like I
wasn't
get it
saying
a
anything.
few seconds ahead.
Yeah, you did.
I
So
actually
you're like,
see the energy moving, and then I know that it's going to kick in for your experience of the energy moving.
and I did. I had to lay down. I absolutely did. And
you had an incredible opening, though. You were very open to the energy shift. So, so anyway, this CD is a composite of many of the foundational energy tools that everyone can practice. I created it in a sense of using it as a daily meditation guide, because a lot of people say they can't meditate, and I know I've struggled with that. I've sat with gurus for 20-some years. And my mind is very, very busy. So having guided meditations, when I'm in that space already.
Right.
So there's a transmission that happens.
And you invite.
Yes. And we did one take. You know.
Of course, you can tell.
It
was
just was on, and
flow.
I could tell that the energy was contained within the recordings, so that I've had incredible feedback of people understanding, perhaps even for the first time, that they're actually in charge of their own energy.
Right.
That they actually can reset at any given moment how they want to experience being in this body.
Right.
You know, and can reset that. And so those are some of the most amazing foundational tools that they've changed my life. And they've allowed me to teach long distance immediately, to give tools over the phone.
Excellent, excellent. And what are some of the other ways that folks can connect and work with you?
Oh, to work with me. I was going to say to connect. Oh, I could teach you a million ways to connect.
Exactly. That's. And how could some folks enjoy that?
Well, there's a fair number of free gifts on my website. They can begin there. A ton of articles and information about energy healing, the benefits, what you can expect. And my website, my main website is kumarihealing.com. That's K-U-M as in Mary, A-R-I, healing.com.
Yes.
And I have any number of programs ongoing. I have weekly healing programs that are group distant programs that anybody can join in.
Nice, excellent.
I offer all the way up to a goddess program where I'm sharing at the level that I'm at now. I'm sharing pretty much everything I know.
Wow.
With some amazing people. So, and there's a lot in between.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about an almost like a ashram experience, right, where you are, right?
Yes.
At home, so to
we're
speak.
sort of customizing what that person will need to really hold them, what they need for daily practices. Because I'm intuitive and I have a million daily practices. You don't need a million, you only need the ones that work for you.
For you, yeah.
So I'm able to just kind of zoom in and say, okay, you know, this person's practice would be chanting.
Right.
You know, because that's where they just get into their groove.
Right.
And so I will design the program just for them.
Beautiful.
And I also do all the attunements for Reiki, and I have many, many other bodies of work that I
And she
to open
does.
up the intuition
Absolutely.
and clarity. So.
Just a font of healing tools. So absolutely go and visit. And you know, again, this is something so simple. You can do it while you're driving in your car. I do it, like I said, this has become pretty much one of my consistent daily practices. I really, really love it.
Thank you.
So Kumari, I could just sit here for another hour or two and talk and chat.
Thank you for this.
Thank you so much for being with us.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Namaste.
So, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to who you are, to how you can show up in a bigger and better way in the world, and how each of our guests here can help you to do exactly that. And above and underneath it all, please remember, it's all about love. Thank you. This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com. My next guest is a soul astrologer and channel. She channels different consciousness, and the Palladians are one of them. Please welcome to the show, Gaia Earth Star.
So good to see you.
Good seeing you, Gina.
Welcome, welcome, and have a seat.
Thank you.
And I am so glad you are with us today so that we get to share your gifts and what you have been given to do on this planet at this time. So I would just love for everyone to hear from your mouth, from your lips, exactly what it is you do.
Well, you know, I do have connection to the cosmic mind, source, the galactic sun. There's many names for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, what I do, it's basically I have this connection to the invisible. So I'm very, how would I say that? I'm very aware, and I'm really comfortable with it.
Good, yes.
Okay, so the shadow side, I don't have, you know, it's like, it's easier for me to tune into it, and therefore help others, you know, tune into their self-limiting beliefs, you know, false concepts about who they are. Because as you know, the time on the planet right now, planet Earth, is a party time.
A party time.
It is a party time.
Party time. You heard it from Gaia Earth Star. It's party
Yes.
time. So what does that mean?
It means that the soul is rising. Okay, so the spirit is rising. Again, however you want to call it, Kundalini rising, our energy that connects us back to source, whatever it means for us. I stress the fact, you know, I say there's many names to the same thing because it has no, what I do, there is no belief system really. It's just an energy, it's neutral. You know, you can also call it, I channel the vibration of unconditional love. It's a neutral space on a scientific base. You know, I would say life is meaningless. We give it meaning.
Yes.
Right? Everything is neutral. The heart space is the neutral space. So right now on planet Earth, this is the space we're asked to live in. Which is why it's a party, because the soul is longing for that time.
Yes.
And I have been given from many other lifetimes. Also, I have many lifetimes in Tibet. So I mastered astrology at the time. So I didn't have to study in this life. It just basically was activated. And we're all being activated, willingly or not. And a lot of people are feeling the change in their lives.
I would agree with that. I've had so many conversations with so many different people on different levels, from different walks of life, and even those who don't even necessarily consider a spiritual or, you know, soul side of life, or God or energy or anything. And they are all experiencing, I mean, there's almost this consistent story that's kind of running through where a lot of people are experiencing major shifts going on for themselves. So that's part of the party, huh?
That is part
Even
of the
though
party.
it doesn't feel like the party for a lot of the folks, right? Because a lot of the stories are not so fun.
Right.
So
Because, you know, and I will bring a little bit of astrology here. We have Saturn, the
Yes.
planet of, we call it karma. But again, people, you know, might think about karma like, oh my God, what did I do?
right.
You know, it's just cleansing you. Whatever is not serving you, Saturn will show you where you sabotage yourself. You know, I am not successful. Why are you not successful? Where you do not believe in yourself.
Yes.
Saturn right now is doing this work in Scorpio, the sign of rebirth, the sign of looking at your shadow side. So you
okay.
can shine the light. So there is no such thing as just light. Light do not exist without the darkness. We need
Both
that
sides.
exactly.
Right.
But from that duality, which
Yes.
we've experienced for eons of time on the planet, on planet Earth, we come to that unity consciousness, to unconditional love vibration, to the neutral space, neutral mind.
Okay. Okay.
So Saturn in Scorpio is helping everybody, and it is very important to know where it is in your chart right now.
Okay.
Because that's where this massive building force that is Saturn. Saturn will end what does not serve you, and will give you the strength to build that strong foundation so you can rise and live through that spirit, through that soul, through your highest excitement.
Yes.
You know, through your authentic self.
And I think that's what a lot of people are experiencing without knowing that, though, right?
Exactly.
So they're just feeling a lot of things ending. You know, I've heard
Yes.
so many stories of lots of people, you know, jobs lost, marriages ended, you know, all sorts of things ending, and it
Yes.
doesn't feel good. And so people get very, very afraid, or they're really
Yes.
feeling quite tossed and torn, and feeling struggling, you know, that they're really struggling. But if they could know that
Yes.
this is part of, you know, this is part of what's
Of the
happening right now.
cycle.
This is part of the
Yeah.
cycle, and actually work with it,
Exactly.
right? So that to
Exactly.
me is where, you know, astrology in general is, if we can understand what's
Yes.
going on, we can actually work with it instead of just feeling jostled about by all
Yes,
of,
you
know.
can ride the wave instead of being under the wave.
Ooh,
but
that's
I
a
would
good analogy,
I would
yeah.
add, you know, that soul astrology go deeper than
Yes.
just general astrology.
Yes.
That's your newspaper astrology. You don't want to look at
Or
your
your
newspaper
online,
astrology
right?
right now. This
Right
is not
now.
where you want to go. You want to go to soul, you know, astrology, evolutionary astrology, which connects to the, you know, the all of existence of who you are authentically, your soul, your
Right.
spirit. And why I say soul astrology very important right now, because you have heard, you know, it's about remembering. We live in a time and space where we need to remember.
Yes. What are we remembering?
And the soul, you know, has all the information you need. That's why you need to have this. Through soul astrology, you connect to why you came here.
Okay.
This is as deep as that.
Okay.
Your
purpose.
Through your north node. That's
Aha.
the soul destiny. Okay. This is my compass in soul astrology. This is the compass, not the focus, because then you look at the present chart
Right.
and you see where the energy are triggering the person. So we want to be in the now.
Okay.
We don't want to be in the past or in the future so much. We want to be in the now,
Okay.
because it's an empowering tool.
Sure.
It's also not a tool of predictions. Why? I talk about power. Again, Saturn in Scorpio is bringing the power back to everybody that is willing.
That's
It's
a key
like,
piece that is willing,
You know,
right?
let's say I say to you tomorrow, I will give you, you know, $10 million. Some people will freak out.
Right.
And some
Right.
people will say, well, I can't handle it.
Yeah, some people will say yes.
So this is where we are right
Bring it on.
now on the planet Earth.
Okay.
It's like, okay, now we're connecting you back to source. You can create your dream. You can live your dream. This is what's on my website, living your dream.
Living your dream.
Right.
I love it.
Do you have the power? Do you have this foundation?
And the consciousness, right? And
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Are you prepared?
A conscious creator. Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
Consciousness, it's all about consciousness,
really
of course.
is, yeah.
Because you can live in this life. Yes, you have a chart. Yes, you have a north node, but you're unconscious.
Right. So none of that matters. If
and
you're
nothing
not,
happens really, right?
Or you're sitting and wondering what's going on and why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And solar astrology again is very empowering because you can understand the patterns that from your north node there is the south node. Okay.
Yes.
The south node is your past lives, what you've mastered in other time, you know, and you enter the planet. So it's very beautiful because, again, you do not have to believe it because at the end of the day, you're here on planet Earth and you still have a chart, and I can help you. So you enter the planet at the exact time you set up yourself. You actually choose your chart.
Yes.
Okay,
and we're
this
going to
is
get
not
a whole lot, a whole lot
Right.
more into that because you're speaking about two things that most people aren't aware of. You know, most of us understand maybe a sun sign or maybe even a moon sign or a rising sign if you've gone a little bit beyond, but most have not heard about the north node or the south node, and I want to go a
Right.
little bit deeper into that right when we come back. So definitely come right back as we find out more about the north node, the south node with Gaia Earth Star. This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com. We are back and speaking with Gaia Earth Star as she shares with us a little bit more about your north node and your south node, which most of us don't know much about. So here we are. Gaia, please tell us, what is the north node? What is the south node? How do we even find this out? What does it mean? Give us all the goods.
Well, it's quite easy to find out if you have your personal chart. Your personal chart will tell you what is your north node and south node. So the south node is what you've mastered, what the energy you bring here onto Earth, that you've worked with and that you're very familiar. Okay. It's like family. Okay, it's very cozy.
Okay.
Though sometimes family can be a little
not so cozy,
challenging. But the challenge comes with the north node, challenging you to grow, right?
Okay.
So getting out of the coziness,
the comfort zone.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the comfort zone. Beautiful. So you can grow as a soul, as a spirit, as a being, and that's why you were saying, people don't really know about north node, south node. It is true, because people were not ready on planet Earth before. So now, people like me are being basically used to transfer, those informations from soul, the soul, the oversoul, to the soul of the person. So that's the work I do. I work at the deepest level.
So, but has the information about the north and south node always been present in one's chart?
Yes.
But it just hasn't been
It was
spoken
not
about much.
activated.
Okay.
A lot of
I love that word, activated.
yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of activation is happening on planet Earth, and astrology is one assistant, if you
Yes.
want, as well as other consciousness that people like me, other channel on the planet, tune in. So we bring this information to empower people, to give the power back to people. It's really what it is about,
Yes. Yes.
through this unconditional love vibration. And one means, I just want to mention, one means the unconditional love vibration, because a lot of people get confused.
How so?
So first, this vibration is about you, loving yourself. And this is how we create peace, harmony, and oneness on the planet, right? We are one.
Yes.
One needs to experience. It is nothing logical, nothing of the mind. It's everything, as your previous guest was explaining, all the chakras balances in the heart center.
Yes.
This is a knowing of the heart.
Yes.
So no need for the head.
Yeah. And so you would say that, when we even just say the word love, I mean, we don't love mentally, right? We love with our hearts. We love from a deep place. And so you're saying that it's first important to love ourselves. And I think I am absolutely hearing this message so much more, and it's so beautiful, and it's so necessary because we have always mostly been so othered-centered, right? One of the very most common scriptures is, love others as you love yourself. And I know for me, I've always had this thought that there's an assumption that we all love ourselves, but not
Right.
everybody does. So there's this assumption, well, sure, love everybody else as you love yourself. Well, as you love yourself needs to be more worked on, because many of us don't love ourselves.
Yes.
And so we are loving others as we love ourselves, which is not necessarily so great.
Which is where the soul comes in, because the soul loves you.
Now talk to us about that.
The soul, is this vibration of unconditional love. So it wants to take you from where, you wear your south node
Yes.
to your growth potential as a human being,
Yes.
right, on this planet. I know that the reason I'm here on this planet is to help this transition.
And you're using the same word,
Yes.
vibration. It's the vibration of unconditional love.
Yes.
So again, here we have a thing about tuning in to this unconditional love vibration.
Yes.
Now you say that the North Node then is where we need to grow into, right?
Yes.
So say for a person, so I know in my chart, right? So you did a powerful, powerful reading for me, and the North Node for me was Taurus.
Yes.
So tell me of now the relationship of your North Node, where you're needing to grow into, in relationship to the other pieces, like say your sun sign. How much of a power is the North Node with your sun sign?
Well,
Or rising sign?
that is the fascinating time. Each time I look at a chart, it is like, it is really beautiful to see how one person has set up themselves to really grow on this journey. So your sun sign, your moon sign and ascendant are really the three pillars. They're like a trine, it's like a triangle, feeding each other energy. And those are really important to work with the North Node. But really everything in the chart, it is something, again, I'm an intuitive, okay? So I do not need books to look at, well, Saturn is in the 8th house conjuncting Pluto. I know, it means rebirth at a deeper level. What I'm saying is that, all the planets are really triggering that North Node. Everything is working. The North Node, again, is the compass.
Ah, okay.
But what I see is that, and every chart is unique because everybody is unique. But I'm always amazed to see how the person chooses to set up themselves for success.
Right.
Because in this reality, there is no such thing as failure.
Ah, I love that. I have been saying that for years. So yes.
Again,
Good.
going back to your power. So when you have a soul astrology reading, you start remembering, oh, well, I knew I could do this. That's why my moon is there. Because I was like, well, I need to go this way, so I'm going to put my moon there. This is really how it happened.
So as you get
As
a
above,
reading,
so below.
Right. I love that saying too. So say one gets a reading with you and they learn what their North Node is, they learn where their South Node is, which, correct me if I'm wrong, many folks are hanging out in the South Node, in the comfort zone, right?
So they know that one. They're like, oh, yeah.
I'm really
sounds
comfortable with that one.
familiar. But then when they get to know about their North Node,
That's where the stretch.
exactly, and they realize, this is what I've been resisting.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
So
what I
here's
found.
the aha moment, like, okay, so maybe I'm going to start to embrace that lesson.
Instead of fighting it.
Right, and
Yeah.
then you start creating your dream. You start living your dream.
Right.
Because you have this awareness, you have this consciousness,
Yeah.
and you know that you set up yourself, no one else did. This chart is you, this
Yeah.
is your plan.
And it's like your map.
Exactly.
I think when we were doing mine, I said something to the effect of, there's always usually a joke about how, you know, we don't come with an instruction manual or a guidebook.
Right.
And it's like, well, actually,
We do.
kind of do, right? And it's kind of there. But many folks I know in today's world certainly kind of, you know, look on astrology as a bit of a joke because of what's seen in newspapers and even some of the online. It's seen as a cute little, you know, fluffy thing. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm a Libra and my rising's in this, and it's left there. But
Right.
really not getting the deeper pieces of it, right? That, of course, the planets, we're connected. It's
Well,
all
I
connected.
think, you know, there is a lot of souls on the planet awakening, and
Yeah.
those that are laughing,
Not so
there
much.
are just, you know, in this lower vibration of planet Earth. And everybody can shift.
Yeah.
Everybody can.
Yes.
There is no, as I said, there's no failure.
Right.
Someone can awaken just like that because Spirit said, now you are on.
And I think you made a really key point before, and it kind of demystifies this word channel, I think.
Yes.
And that is, you know, again, we're kind of back to vibration and frequencies again, right? But that each of us
Yes.
is, right? Each of us has the ability, it's whether we're doing it or not, and whether
Yes.
we're awake and aware and conscious to do that. And one of the things that you're awake and aware to do is to channel specifically the Pleiadians, yes?
Yes, the Pleiadians have been great assistants, you know, in my life personally. And
And
this,
how so? Who are they? What do they stand for?
well,
What
again, it
the
is a
message?
consciousness.
Uh-huh.
So you have this cosmic mind,
Yes.
and you have highways of informations.
Okay.
Okay, you can see them as civilizations, people living like us, ETs, however your imagination is working.
Okay.
But the Pleiadians, what the Pleiadians do, again, it is a consciousness. You tune into it, and then it speaks my language, so you can hear it.
In the way that
It
you can
doesn't mean
receive
they're
it.
speaking English.
Okay.
It doesn't mean they have a physical body.
Uh-huh.
It is just a vibration I open myself to tune
You
into.
tune into, yes.
See, I open myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So people can do that. It just asks a little bit of trust. Again, because it is invisible.
Right.
It is the unknown. But we are evolving towards this type of society, this type of civilization.
Yeah. You
They-
actually see it all over the place.
Exactly.
In movies, entertainment, Hollywood's kind of playing with it, but it's actually quite all over the place.
Right, and
Yeah.
that is, you know, just to prepare humanity. You know, you can't just like open the Pandora box.
Right.
You
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
it is happening. You know, the shift has happened, 12, 21, 12.
Sure.
We are still here, but the consciousness is
Yeah.
evolving really quickly.
Yes.
And so soul astrology, you will see more and more soul astrologer because it is an empowering tool.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it is really empowering, and it has empowered me to become that channel, you
Yes.
know, get into my power and own that power and use the power of your imagination. That is what the Pleiadians really channel as a consciousness, is that if you can see it in your mind, you know, if you can feel it in your heart, it is real. You can manifest anything. But again, you have to have that confidence. You have to own your power. That is the trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, those self-limiting beliefs. Well,
Right.
I will be successful when?
Right.
No, I am successful now.
Yeah.
That's what the soul says.
Beautiful.
You are everything you want to be, and you are imperfectly perfect.
Yes, yes. As I was saying, there's a song that I've written called that, Imperfect Perfection.
Oh, how beautiful.
And it's just that beautiful dichotomy that's absolutely true.
Yes.
So you've just shared with us so many powerful things today. I'm so glad you're here. How can people, you know, really connect with you and be able to work with you? And what is something that people can get started even just today to connect with you?
So I can send them a mini sample relating to their North Node. And if they feel, you know, that might be something of assistance for me to create my dream, live my dream, then, you know, we can go further and, you know, schedule a session.
Beautiful.
But also you can find channeling sessions on my website and also my Facebook page, Gaia Earth Star, And it is my blessing really to bring those information to empower people, and doing so with the vibration of unconditional love, which we didn't really had time to talk about that, but this vibration is Mother Earth. So that vibration I channel from the cosmic mind, but in the heart also of Mother Earth.
Beautiful.
And as we know, the mother loves her children unconditionally. So we are rising with the consciousness of Gaia, Mother Earth, and it is my blessing to guide people, to guide souls.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being with us, and we'll be right back. This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com. Welcome back. I am so glad you're here to see my next guest. She is the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. She's an international best-selling co-author and a pioneer of Wired Web. Please welcome to the show, Sabine Messner. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome. Have a seat.
Thank
Ooh,
you.
and let's have a fabulous chat around. I know, right? It's already juicy. All right, so talk to me about this titling, The Wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. How did you arrive at that?
Isn't that something, huh?
It's really quite delicious. I love that word wizard. You know, we have lots of ideas around that. So what does that mean for you?
Well, the wizard, you know, the reason why I chose that for myself is because there is definitely alchemy involved and something magical involved where, you know, a person has to have studied a lot of different things to sort of like bring them all together and then to uniquely calibrate them, you know, to the person.
Ooh, I love
so
that
it's
word.
not just like, you know, like a process where one size fits all,
Right.
but where it's really like actually a deep transformative process that's unique, you know, where I'm really looking at the unique soul and the unique purpose and how that can be translated. So there's a lot of nuance
Yes.
there. You
Do
know,
you
that I
feel
wanted
like
to-
you kind of intuitively tap into one's particular energy when you're working with them?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what's so exciting about it is not only am I tapping in, like their entire angelic and you know spiritual support system is like,
all
you know,
tapping
giving
in.
me the whole, you know, the whole downloads. It's like in many ways it's a position of being a sacred witness to really allow the emerging entrepreneur, or what I would like to call the new paradigm entrepreneurs, to really create the bridge to be all that they can be, and to be that bridge to a new economy and to the new world, to all the things that we in the collective understand to a degree, but we don't know exactly how we can go about it.
Yes.
And this type of soul purpose branding is actually coming from the future. It is really positioning them in their highest becoming. So we're really reverse engineering everything from the future into the present moment.
That was so chock full. Wasn't that just delicious? I mean, really, there were so many nuggets in there, because I just love that you're coming from the soul, deeper level. You're acknowledging all of the, you know, angelic and other entities that are in support of each of us as we're moving throughout this earth, and that you're, you know, really working with all of that.
Yes.
To and
It's all
and
encompassing.
becoming.
It's
It
a
really
really a
is.
sacred process. And
Yes.
you know, usually in the first session, you know, with my private clients, my private platinum clients, we start out with the sacred soul journey that is between 6 and 8 hours long,
Wow.
non-stop. It's kind of like a Sundance with one soul.
Wow.
And-
Sundance with one soul.
Yeah, so
Oh.
we could be talking about that just for an hour.
We sure
but-
could. We could actually do that a little. Wouldn't that be fun?
But you know, just recently, you know, my latest client said, "Boy, you should really get to know people on a very deep level." And so it takes somebody with the capacity to hold the space for other big people, right?
Yes, the energy.
So and you can't really rush into that. So it's not something that I feel like I need to do it you know,
Right.
this way or that way. It's like one of those things where I myself am being supported, like you are supported by a greater cause. You've stepped
Yes.
into a greater
Yes.
identity of yourself,
Yes.
and you're really surrendering to the support, because it is really bigger than us, right?
It absolutely is. And why would you say that that's important? Why would you say it's important for each of us to really tap into our soul's purpose?
Oh, thank you for asking me that question. I was preparing for that one. So, you know, being around the block in the expert industry, you know, you hear a lot that people understand about the importance to have their business be on purpose and to be on purpose. But I still feel that we tend to belittle our purposes. So I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, it's my purpose to empower female entrepreneurs to make more money, to understand their self-worth and make more money.
Right.
And from my perspective, that's not a soul's purpose. That is a positioning statement. And it's a niche declaration, but it's not a soul purpose. A soul purpose would be something like, I allow other souls to spread their wings. I free them of the of their shackles of disempowerment, or something that is actually pretty big and to a degree also non-tangible, and you want to keep it that way. I want to give you an example. You yourself, after your career as an opera singer, you I know you gave singing lessons.
Yes. Yes.
Now, during that time, you could have said, oh, it is my soul's purpose to help people, you know, find their voice and sing.
Yes.
And that would have
Which
been
I did.
a really, you know, true statement. It would have been really amazing, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you said that.
And I did for many years.
You
and
did
so
for many
they,
years.
And yes.
And then as you evolved, you realized, wait a minute, this is not just about helping people to vocalize, to be a singer. This is also about helping people to vocalize their message, so that all the speakers that are emerging on stages, you know, have their voice. So I know that you've evolved to that. And here you are today, really having completely unleashed your true soul's purpose, which is really helping people to sing their soul's song and have that be forever encapsulated. That is the ultimate soul purpose. Would you not agree?
I would, and I'm like trying to like keep it together, because it's so true. It has been such a journey to do exactly that. And I never saw this for myself.
Yes.
Like I saw all the, you know, the pieces along the way. And it took years of so many people just really planting seeds, and the support system planting seeds and sending messengers to bring me to this place. So, and that is such a journey. That's why I love how you spoke about, you really hold that space.
Yes.
Because, you know, I've had people hold that space for me, and it really is sacred work and beautiful, beautiful work to do.
And now you can see yourself, like, from giving vocal, you know, voice
coaching,
lessons, from being a voice coach,
Yes.
to really transporting other people's soul
Voice
songs
voice into the world.
into the world,
exactly.
and also preserving them, making them eternal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
imagine that this is what I'm talking about in soul purpose branding. Now imagine there would be a way where I could have taken you from this place.
Right.
I'm a vocal voice coach.
I'm a voice coach, voice
And
teacher.
I would have been able to transport you right into this, like, here is the ultimate becoming. This is truly
Wow.
what this is all about.
And that's what you do for people.
And then position you there, begin with your entire business there, through the branding. Where not everything just gets expressed through words. You know, as they say, an image is a thousand words.
Yes.
And in between the image, there's also the vibration, there's the frequency. So when we really put the intentionality into it, when we have that image, that brand name recognition, all the things that I've studied for decades, and I just can't wait to kind of, like, you know, put them all out there, then you can imagine what that does to a person's life and business. It catapults you into your highest becoming.
And to your highest. That, yeah.
And you
that's
know what
huge.
happens to me all the time, and I know this is in the beginning when I went on this entrepreneurial path, I too have been trying to be a good student and niche and find out who my ideal client is. And I wrote the pamphlet and I did it all to the T. And you know, not only was I failing, there was no sales conversion in my business during that time. When I tried to really cater to my ideal client, nothing worked. It just was like incongruent from A to Z. And I was so miserable.
Yes.
I felt so miserable. And then I got very angry. I was furious. I was like, who are we to belittle our soul's purpose so that we cater it to these like headlines of attraction so that our ideal client, we don't even know who our ideal clients are.
Yeah. Well, many of us are still learning who we are.
Exactly.
And who we're meant to be on this planet, right?
And so today when I speak from my soul, like right now,
yes,
I have so many clients that are signing up, and they say to me, you know, I don't even know exactly
what you do
and how you do it, but I know on a soul level that I need to work with you.
Excellent. Beautifully stated. And right on that point, we are going to come right back and hear more from Sabine Messner. This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. SoulPurposeBranding.com. We are back with Sabine Messner, who is sharing with us her Soul Purpose Branding wizardry, truly the magic that is Sabine, and how she helps each one of us to really step into our deepest soul purpose. So Sabine, we have just been really enjoying all that you've been sharing with us so far today. It's just truly, truly lovely. And we want to go even, a little deeper in that and find out, what's a tool or a tip or something that each of us can do today to kind of, already feel a shift in the way that you show up.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's two big tips that I would love to share with everyone. So branding, as you know, is this big, fairly unregulated discipline, right?
Yeah,
would you not agree,
it's
right?
kind of like wide open and not too many people know what that really means.
And so many people go blurry eyes. When do I need a brander?
What does it mean? What does branding even mean?
What does branding even mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion, and if you hire a brander, you actually quite never know what the outcome is, because there's different branding methodologies and different branding approaches. Unlike, for example, if you hire a copywriter or something like that, right? You have a much clearer, more defined expectation. So what has often happened, what I see happening a lot in the industry, is that people think that they need to have it all figured out before they can go to a brander, and then they think that the brander will give them the logo, the visual look and feel to make it all pretty.
Okay. And that's not
That's actually a really a big misunderstanding. Steve Jobs, for example, really understood branding very, very well. And he took basically branding principles, like what is the brand of Apple, which was never about the technology. The Apple brand was always about our relationship with technology. And if you take those brand values and you make them front and center, you start with that. Again, it's like starting with the ultimate end in mind, not with like what you want to evolve into, because it's kind of like a trajectory. If you start with like where you think you're headed, you're always going to be off quite a bit.
So you got to start with where
you have to start with ultimately what you want to be remembered for, and put that right into your brand. So in our industry that we're in, the expert industry, most people are in business with themselves. So the approach of getting a company logo done is actually a detriment for them, because then they end up hiding behind their logo.
Right, because it's smaller than probably what
and oftentimes there's graphical things. So I have a lot of clients that said, oh yeah, I'm hiring this graphic artist and I want to have the hummingbird in there, and then I want to have like the butterfly in there, and all of these symbols that by themselves would be great brand components someplace else, but then they're not coming through.
So they're lost in all of the symbolic.
Yeah, the graphical stuff, and it can also really get dated very fast. So my general rule of thumb is for a really big brand through is go with a strong brand name, go with a simple typographical logo, something clean and timeless.
Okay.
And don't hide behind your logo, and don't hide behind a headshot either. Like really let some like through your essence come through through photography that lets people get that connection on a heart level.
Yes, which I have to tell you, this woman is a walking example of that. Her photos are absolutely brilliant. I mean, you want to see a picture of pure bliss? Seriously, go look at Sabine's newest pictures. I mean, you are just in full bliss, energy, joy, just absolute ecstasy comes through in those pictures.
So when you open up in a photo shoot like that, right, then I'm not projecting a perfect image because my hair is not perfect, my makeup maybe.
But it is perfect, right?
But
in
I
the
am,
imperfection.
my
right?
presence is there, and that's what
your energy
translates, exactly. So headshots are important, you know, put them in your media kit, in your press kit, you know, you need them there, but don't put them on your homepage. Oftentimes, you know, headshots, they make us look so polished and proper, and then what oftentimes happens is that people can't have homepage videos where the real, the real them is coming through because they look 10 years older, and it's like, you know, it creates a lot of discongruency.
Okay.
So I think if people just take that to heart, like don't hide behind the logo, don't hide behind a perfect headshot. Really, that just get the name out there and your essence, you're good to go.
And essentially don't hide is the common theme of what I'm
Common
hearing.
theme.
Don't hide. Let the
Let that
truest,
soul come
fullest
out,
essence in your soul to come through.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So how can, what things are you working on, and how can people really experience the absolute joy and brilliance of you?
Oh, well, you know, this has been long coming. I have prepared myself, I would say, for lifetimes to be of service in exactly this way.
Right. Yes.
And I feel like this is just the beginning. It's all just really coming together for me. So I've had the great fortune to work with already some amazing luminaries like Tim Kelly, you know, the author of True Purpose, and Jeffrey Van Dyke are clients of mine, and they wholeheartedly have endorsed my process.
Beautiful.
What that means is also that really high caliber people that have devoted their lives and careers to being on purpose truly benefit from this process because it even heightens their already great awareness about themselves.
Yeah.
And so the process that for my one-on-one platinum clients is a really deep transformative process where we really understand about the soul essence, about the soul purpose. We put that into the brand positioning, and then we basically look to it how that gets expressed visually.
Okay.
And for me, the challenge was always like, how can I do this on a group level, right? There's only so many people I can work with.
One person,
one-on-one.
Hours in a day, right.
And so I was really sitting with that for the last 2 years, and I am so overjoyed. I finally have found an avenue where I can provide, through different processes, I would almost say a similar depth, not as maybe uniquely calibrated, but a similar depth in a group context. And this is a program that I'm launching. It's called Soul Brand Emergence.
Ooh, emergence.
And it's a virtual retreat, so anybody from all over the world can come, and we're really going into a ritualistic brand incubation space, and people can really come with their whatever their current brand iteration is already, you know, and we will get it all calibrated. And from there's also photo shoots. There's so many different things that I can work with the person.
And I love the word that you keep using that I want you to just expound on a bit, and that is calibration. For those who may not be familiar with that, how do you understand calibration?
The calibration is when you really understand that everything is frequency ultimately. you know, and specifically also, you know, an image, colors. I love colors, so
yes.
I love colors, so everything translates into frequency. And I love also Dr. Emoto with the words on the water bottle. Even words, you know, carry the frequency.
Yes.
So when you approach personal branding, really, and this is what we're talking about, as a sacred process, then words, images, your soul's purpose message, all of those things kind of like have to be looked at in the context, in an all-encompassing context. And it's a little bit like a symphony, you know, you have the violins.
I was just about to say, do you bring in sound as part of that frequency?
Maybe we can work on that together. That's where my expertise, you know, ends a little, I would say, but the importance of calibrating all of these aspects is definitely recognized in this process.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your unique brilliance with each of us today. I know I've certainly gotten just wonderful nuggets from how you show up in the world in a different way and help people to do that in their unique way, in their soul purpose. What would you like to say, just kind of a final thought to share with each of our guests today?
Oh, what I would love to say is that it's never too late to surrender to the greatness of your sacred calling. And that it's not something that is in your head. It's really something that, you know, unplug, you know, go deep within, and then don't be afraid to put that out there, to really just emanate from that place. And, you know, I have certainly enjoyed the journey, because when you are in business with your soul's purpose, not only is it the ultimate self-realization, but you are tapping into a prosperity flow where it doesn't matter how fast you get to the goal. There isn't really, there's no rush there, right? And all along you are working in a place of abundance. So it really is never too late to just drop whatever extra stuff is happening and just get on that purpose bandwagon.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sabine. Really wonderful.
It's such a joy to be here. And maybe I should, in closing, give away my website address.
Sure, absolutely. Please share.
So people can find me, Sabine Messner, at soulpurposebranding.com. Soulpurposebranding.com.
And we will have, of course, that web link and all of the information to connect with Sabine and her amazing work. And again, so grateful that you could be with us today.
Thanks, Orgena.
Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.